Today, I'm going to preface the video by saying this is not financial advice, but what is your house in Bend going to be worth in 2028 and or 2033? That's what today's video is about. I found an article that is basically speculating on the future median home prices of 10 pretty popular markets that are kind of under the radar, but not really under the radar. And they're speculating what the median home price is going to be in 2028 and 2033 in those markets based off of previous growth trends in those respective markets. I applied that data to Bend for the sake of your own entertainment today. So if this video sounds like it's for you, stick around. We're getting after this presumptive video right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel or it's your 50th, it doesn't matter to me. And you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the future value of your home in Bend, Oregon, then subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market happenings here in Bend and surrounding Central Oregon. My name's Ryan. I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. My business partner, Zach, and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking for help on making their smooth transition to Bend from out of the area, or those that are already here looking to make a lateral move or list their home. We get calls like that all the time. So whether you're looking to make that transaction happen in the next 9 days or 90 days, it doesn't matter to us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, set up that Zoom if you're out of the area. And if you're local, let's just go get coffee somewhere. We'll discuss your situation. So with that being said, today, I'm hopping into the computer. I found this very interesting article. It's always fun to speculate, right? Everybody loves to speculate what their house is going to be worth down the line in the future based off of maybe what the neighbor sold their property for, or what the economy is doing, or who the new president is, all that stuff. And so Realtor.com wasted no time. And they came out with this pretty interesting article, and it actually ties into Bend quite nicely because of the 10 markets I'm going to be showing you here that are predicting future median home valuations. 9 of them are actually primary relocation markets to Bend, people that move to Bend from these respective areas. So let's figure out the formula for how Realtor.com came up with these numbers, and then we can just apply it to Bend, and then we can debate whether we think it's going to be true or not in 5 years and 10 years as to what Bend's median home price is going to be. Maybe it'll inspire you guys to take some action, but at the same time, let's remember this is all just for fun. So let's hop into the computer right now and let's take a look at what's going on with the current article that is giving us all this information. Okay, so we are here at Realtor.com. We can see the date, October 30th, 2024. This article basically is discussing 10 affordable cities poised to become million-dollar markets in the next decade. It kind of piqued my curiosity, right? I'll go ahead and read this for a couple moments. I see some pictures here that I recognize the cities of, so let's just go ahead and dive in. Home prices in some pockets of the country are rising, and certain areas where properties are affordable now are poised to break the six-figure ceiling. That doesn't apply to us, right? We're already kind of there. Let's continue on here. Most of these markets have the potential to become million-dollar markets in the West and Midwest, and unsurprisingly, they're in close proximity to bigger markets. Well, Bend is sandwiched right in between Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco, so I think it qualifies in that regard. To determine where these markets are, Realtor.com economists examine the sales price and growth of America's 100 largest metros between 2014 and 2019. Okay, so I'm starting to get a feel for what's going on here. They're going to take the growth numbers from 2014 up to 2019 and then apply the data to each respective city. For instance, if you bought a house in Boise, Idaho in 2023, that would have typically cost you $464 and some change, and yet applied their growth from 2014 up to 2019 to that current price to figure out where that price will be valued at 5 years later, we're looking at 58% year-over-year growth, which would make that $465,000 house worth a whopping $735,000 within 5 years. Seems kind of crazy, right? I think it is. We'll explain. We'll share our takes on this in a little bit. Let's continue on. What future million-dollar markets have in common? All right. They are close to large cities. So Stockton, California, spoiler alert, is one of them, as is Boise. Is close, Stockton is, to San Francisco. Of course, one of the most expensive housing markets in the country, right? It's about 2 hours away. I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, Bend is about, 2 to 3 hours away from the Eugenes, the Portlands. It's about a 45-minute jaunt on a plane down to San Francisco. About the same time it takes to get up to Seattle, two very expensive housing markets that are large metropolitan areas. Let's continue on. If we continue scrolling down, the Bay Area obviously promotes large amounts of housing growth. We've seen that over the course of time, but what about these under the radar towns surrounding it? Okay, we're right here in the middle. And so that's what this whole article is speculating. So now that we have the gist of it, they're taking the data from 2014 all the way to 2019, the housing growth of these markets, and applying it to the future prospects of these same markets. So let's continue looking at the actual cities that are part of this article here. Pretty interesting. So we have already talked about Boise, okay, relocation market. Salt Lake City, relocation market to Bend. Portland, Oregon, the #1 relocation market to Bend. Colorado Springs, same. Stockton, California, relocation. Denver, Sacramento, Boston, not necessarily Boston. Honolulu, Hawaii is, in fact, a relocation market. And then we have Seattle, a huge relocation market. So these are the cities of this article. Let's continue on with some of their data. From 2014 to 2019, 5-year price growth was 58%. Median home price in 2023 was $464. Price projection for 2028 is $735, like we talked about. Price projection for 2033, $1.62 million in 9 years from now. Okay, that's cool. Let's see what else. Let's just scroll through it now. We got the gist of it. Salt Lake City, 47% price growth over a 5-year period, that same 5-year stretch from 2014 to 2019. 493 up to 770, 24 in a 5-year span. They're speculating 724. All right. 2033, 1,064,000 in Salt Lake City. Okay, let's continue on. Portland, a little bit closer to Bend. Maybe this applies a little bit more in terms of our speculation. $500,000 in 2023 for a home. Price projection in 2028, 726, and in 2033, $1 million, just over $1 million and change, $1,050,000. All right, Colorado Springs, we got 49%. You guys get the gist of this. You can see the numbers here, 454 up to 680, then up to $1 million. Every single one of these towns in this exercise is expected to have an alleged $1 million price in the next 10 years. Stockton seems a little crazy. 1.446, 1.5 million in the next 9 years. That seems absurd, but okay, what do I know? I can't predict the future. Maybe these guys can. Let's continue on, and we can finish up looking at this article here. You get the gist, though. 557 in Sacramento, all the way up to 1.1. Boston, slower growth. Maybe it's a bigger city. I don't know. Can't speculate why. Same thing with Honolulu. I actually thought Honolulu had a higher median home price than Bend did. And maybe, I'm sure it does in certain spots, but interesting. 1.143 in 10 years. And then, of course, we have Seattle wrapping it up to about 1.5 in 2033. If this was a possibility at all, I would think Seattle would have the greatest chance of acquiring that type of number. So what I want to do now is apply this logic to Bend. Let's take a look at Bend and just give you some data here. This is the actual data sheet of Bend's median home price from, say, 2014, right here, all the way up to 2019. So we went from, say, this line here is 275. Let's call it around 275 for easy math. Went from 275 all the way up to 475 in a 5-year span. So what is that going to do? That's basically the growth is kind of in line or actually higher than all those other 10 cities that we used or we're using in this article. And so what does that really do for Bend in terms of speculating our future median home price? pretty funny, actually. I mean, this graph here tells everything. It's like, obviously, we had huge growth all the way up until 2007, 2008. And then, like everywhere else in the world, the market crashed and we had to start over in basically 2011. Started over right down here. And so now this article is using data from the recovery process to speculate our future growth prospects in these respective cities. So it's already skewed to me, but let's continue on for fun. Okay, so I took all the data, I wrapped it up, and I just made it really easy to read. Okay, if we actually look at the average year-over-year growth from that 5-year stretch of time, it's all compiled right here. The average comes down to 45.32%. And that's what I ended up applying, say, Ben's 5-year speculative median home price valuation too. And so you guys can look at this data here. It has everything here, the 2023 median price, the 2028 projection, the 2033 projection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's just get right to the nuts and bolts. Bend, Oregon right now, it has an $800,000 median home price. For the sake of the entire year, it's at about 740. We have 2 more months to go. Or almost 2 months, or less than 2 months to go. And then for 2023, our median home price was 726,000. So that's what I applied this data to. 726,000 as a median home price, times 45% over the course of 5 years would give us $1 million, just $1.5 million median home price in Bend in the year 2028. That sounds pretty good, right? And then if we carried it on another 5 years, we would be sitting at 1.53 million for a median home price in the year of 2033. Kind of pretty remarkable stuff. Obviously, it seems like it's a little far-fetched. It's kind of hard to think that we're going to be in a situation like that. But, don't kill the messenger here. That's all I ask. This is a post that I saw on Instagram, and it just kind of caught my eye. So I went and found the actual article here just to kind of explain everything and to see what's going on with this speculative article. It's pretty interesting, but let's try and tie this into something that could be a little bit more reasonable. Okay. People are thinking about buying a home right now, and they're sitting there on the sidelines with just a bunch of pent-up demand. And they think that things are going to get better before they enter the market, whatever that means, maybe a little bit more favorable for them. What does favorable actually mean for anybody that's looking to get into the market? Because if you're looking at maybe investing in Bend as a primary home over the next 5 years or 10 years, now those numbers are obviously skewed and they're a little bit inflated. There's no way I could ever actually believe in those things and those types of results, but you never know. I mean, stranger things have happened. But people are trying to time the market perfectly, right? They think that if they wait for the spring or if they wait for the summer, that's when the actual interest rates are coming down. They think they can just get out an actual crystal ball and predict when that time comes. I can't do that. You can't do that. But what we can do is use data constructively, not destructively, to try and figure out what the best course of action is. Right now, we know that interest rates are at a local high, which means less people are in the market. We've got a ton of inventory in comparison to our last 10 years. We're at 3 months, 3.5 months even. And so we have way more houses that are sitting on the market, and we have a lot of people that are selling with the expectation that when they list their home, they're going to get some sort of offer within the first couple of days. It doesn't work that way, of course, especially when you have high amounts of inventory in coinciding with a higher interest rate where most people just kind of think to themselves, I need to wait for interest rates to come down. Well, when that day does come, and it will, we don't know when exactly it's coming, it's going to bring a sea of people into the market. And if you have a home right now that you're looking at that you think you like enough, and if it was a favorable situation, you would make an offer on it. Well, maybe you could actually make an offer and get it for under its listing price right now. Whereas in comparison to, say, 6 months or 12 months, whenever that day comes, and the rates do come down and all these other people flood the market and they see that same house that you're thinking about and they like it too, and there's multiple offers, what does that do to the price? Not only is it going to be at list, but it's going to be above list. You see how this could be a 20 to 40 to $60,000 swing. Maybe get it for 20,000 under ask today, as opposed to it going into a bidding war and being sold for 30,000 or 40,000 over its list price when that day comes where everybody else floods the market. See, the perspective of getting into real estate cannot be the immediate outcome. Most people, when they buy a home, they tend to think, oh my gosh, I just spent an arm and a leg for this house. But in 5 years, in 10 years, when they look back and they see the valuation of their home, especially in Bend, and we're not talking about the data that we just put up there on the screen, they still are thanking themselves for making the decision they made when they did. But in that moment, when they actually sign at the escrow office, it's like, okay, this is a stressful purchase. So it all comes down to perspective. Where are we going? Well, the odds are we're going up in terms of value. We don't know how fast or how aggressively that's going to be. But historically speaking, if we look back at the past and we apply that to the future, history leaves clues, right? And so that's what we can really kind of speculate on in terms of being more reasonable with our speculation. You can always refi out of that higher interest rate into a lower interest rate when those days come, but you can't reinvent a house that you otherwise wanted and chose not to take action on because you were waiting for it to be a perfect moment. So anyway, that's my rant today. Hopefully you found some entertainment out of this video, and maybe go check out that article for yourself. Pretty interesting. I think we uncovered some of the skews and flaws within that speculative model just based off of using data from 2014 to 2019 when the housing industry was still in recovery mode. Sure, it came back aggressively after it crashed like crazy. So everything needs to be put into perspective. Hopefully this video was, like I said, of entertainment for you. If you guys are in the market, if you're looking to get in the market, if you just want to have a conversation about the market, that's great. Reach out to us. You can call us, you can text us, you can email us, you can set up a Zoom. We can go meet for coffee if you're local. We'd love to meet you and just talk about your situation. My name's Ryan. I'm a licensed broker with eXp Realty here in the state of Oregon. Thank you for watching, and I will plan on seeing you guys on the next video.